How's it going, everybody? It's Pilot Flame and we are back with another FPL video, and today we're going to be talking about some newly dropped fixture changes, an absolute boatload of them. We got them for double game week, now what's going to be 36, which we kind of already knew about, and there's some also thrown in for double game week 37. Some teams will double, some teams will blank in 37, and we'll run you through what all the possibilities are with the information that we have currently. If you haven't done so already, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new or haven't done so already. It greatly helps out the channel, as well as turn those notification bells on so that you can get the content as soon as it is readily available. Drop us a follow over on Twitter so that you can keep up to date with any and all FPL news, from fixture news to fixture changes and anything in between, as well as give us a follow over on Twitch so that you can see when we go live for our preview and deadline streams. We'll be doing a preview stream shortly or thereabouts after the Burnley and Everton game on Wednesday of this week, and we'll be doing the deadline stream Thursday, the evening before the fixtures start for game week 32. Because they start on a Friday this week, so I have to do it the night before, so make sure to tune in for that. We usually have a pinned comment down below to let you know when the next streams will be. So without further ado, let's talk about our partners for this video with Manscaped. This video is brought to you by Manscaped, the best in men's below the waist grooming. Manscaped offers precision engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped have just launched their 4th generation trimmer, the Lawnmower 4.0, alongside their Performance Package 4.0, which also includes the Weed Whacker hair and nose trimmer for those pesky little hairs that are getting out of hand, the Crop Preserver for anti-chafing to make sure that you are as relaxed at all times, the Crop Reviver for maximum conditioning and toning to make sure your jewels are as buff as possible, disposable shaving mats, as well as the premier travel bag for your on-the-go grooming, and lastly the anti-chafing boxers, which I can personally say are extremely comfortable and keep you cool under the highest amount of pressure. What I found the most impressive is that the Lawnmower 4.0 features ceramic cutting-edge blades to reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology, so you can now have that added security when venturing into uncharted territories. The upgraded trimmer also includes a multi-function on and off switch that can engage a travel lock, and also when you are venturing into those uncharted territories, it has the ability for a LED, a 400K LED, a very strong light that you can switch on and off so you can get that more precise shave. So make sure to join over 4 million men who trust in Manscaped with this exclusive offer, 20% off and free worldwide shipping, using the code FLAME20 at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com using the code FLAME20. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. So as we can see here, we have a bunch of different fixtures that have been added to game week 36, as we can see right here, as well as in game week 37. There are a couple that still need to be rearranged, and we'll kind of run through what those could be. And we have a couple of members on the in the FPL community that I follow over on Twitter, and they are fantastic at doing charts like this to make it nice and easy for us to see what's going on. So if we take a look at these fixtures, these are just basically color coded in such a way to where it's like it's a good fixture, a bad fixture, or an okay fixture. Red being bad and the green being good. These gray fixtures here are other competitions basically. So your FA Cup semi-finals, your FA Cup finals, your European finals, those sorts of things. And we can see the to be checked or to be confirmed is the only one fixture, which is Wolves versus Man City. So there are fixtures that have been rearranged that still have somewhat of a caveat to them, and those fixtures is the Man United versus Chelsea fixture, and that is the also the West Ham versus Man City fixture, as well as the Southampton versus Liverpool fixture. All of these fixtures are potential, as well as the Aston Villa versus Crystal Palace fixture. Those are still kind of with a bit of a caveat because it depends on how far certain teams go in competition. So as an example, Liverpool and Man City are both still in all 3 competitions. They will have to play each other in the FA Cup semi-final. which will be over the weekend of game week 33. So pretty much all of this information will be known by the start of or before game week 34. So if you're looking at wildcard, then you should be fine, and you should kind of know from there. So we'll take a hypothetical situation if City and Liverpool both go through in the Champions League, which they're probably expected to do, and let's say Man City wins in the Champions League, then they will have European ties in the middle of the game weeks between 34 and 35 and 35 and 36, which will as will Liverpool, but they will also have the FA Cup final to deal with, which means they can't have a fixture on the weekend for game week 37, as you can see here on Lego Mane's graph. Shout out to Lego Mane. You can see his @ down the bottom here. Very, very useful table. And then same with Chelsea. If Chelsea were to beat Crystal Palace, again, that fixture could be changed as well. So what are the double game week fixtures? Well, we can see the ones that are confirmed a little bit more like vividly, as it were, on Ben Crellin. Shout out to Ben Crellin as well. Also does great work for fixtures as well. They both have their own different ways of showing things. Ben Crellin does a nice bright yellow. So we can see here, these are the fixtures in game week 36 that have been confirmed. So Arsenal will have a double versus Leeds at home and Spurs away. We kind of expected that. Aston Villa will have a double versus Burnley away and Liverpool at home. Chelsea have a double confirmed versus Wolves and Leeds. Wolves at home, Leeds away. Everton will have a double, a back-to-back double confirmed versus Leicester and Watford, both away, and then Brentford and Crystal Palace at home. Leeds will have a pretty terrible double versus Arsenal away and Chelsea at home. Leicester will also have a back-to-back double versus Everton and Norwich at home. A very, very nice set of fixtures there. And then Watford and Chelsea away from home in 37. Then you have the likes of Liverpool, who have Spurs at home, Villa away, which we kind of expected. Then you have Norwich, who have a confirmed double, West Ham at home, Leicester away. Spurs also have a confirmed double versus Liverpool away and Arsenal at home, so not the greatest double there, you would think. And then Watford have a double versus Crystal Palace away and Everton at home. Now you see that there are some here that are in different colors that have like question marks or possibilities where they could be. Let's talk about we'll talk about Aston Villa versus Crystal Palace, because that fixture can change based on if Crystal Palace were to beat Chelsea and go to the FA Cup final. Now, if we go back to Lego Mane's picture here that he has for us, we scroll down to Crystal Palace, so we can see right here, the FA Cup final would be on the weekend of game week 37. So if Crystal Palace were to make that and they were to win that game, that fixture would most likely get chucked into game week 35, almost certainly, where they would play Aston Villa, because both of those teams are not in Europe. So it would go into this slot here. I'm not sure the reasoning why it can't go into 34. I think it's just kind of turnaround. So I think they'll put it into 35. I think that's what how they'll do it. So that's the kind of one that's could be earliest, could be changed. Then you also have, if we look here as well, that's why you can see that there's a likely double game week where Crystal Palace versus Burnley is going to go in here, because Ben Crellin thinks, or at least it's just, you know, the kind of stats and kind of favorability would go in favor of Chelsea to win their fixture versus Palace in the FA Cup semi-final. If we look at the doubles that are confirmed as well for 37, Burnley have a double versus Spurs and Aston Villa, both away from home. Chelsea are very likely to have a double game week versus Man United and Leicester in 37. The only way this doesn't happen is if they were to be knocked out by Palace. And the reason being, they could still put it into game week 37 as well, but they would probably have 2 games on basically the worst days you could possibly have them on, which would be basically, they would have a game on the Saturday, then a game on the Tuesday, the game on the Thursday, and then the final game of the season on the Sunday, which everyone plays at. So basically what Ben Crellin says is game week 35 will become a double game week for Crystal Palace and Aston Villa if Palace were to reach the FA Cup final. And then also, we see here Crystal Palace again, orange, likely to be potentially there. We have Everton, Brentford, and Crystal Palace, so they have a double-double. We have Leeds with just single fixture versus Brighton. Watford and Chelsea, who will be playing Leicester in that double-double, as we mentioned before. Then comes to Man City, West Ham, and Wolves. And I'm kind of going to bunch them together because it kind of... things can change. So we'll talk about West Ham first. So West Ham could double. It'll be versus Norwich away and then Man City at home. And then they could just completely blank in 37. Now, this all stems from who progresses further in Europe. So if West Ham were to get knocked out basically immediately, you could see that fixture being thrown into 36. It would probably make it a little bit easier for Man City, especially if Man City also make the FA Cup final over Liverpool. They could move that fixture to the midweek if they wanted to on the Tuesday, but it'd probably just be easier just to put it in 36, I would think. So West Ham, it's pretty easy. It kind of depends on themselves and Man City. Themselves probably more so because they are probably more likely, I would say, to potentially get knocked out of Europe sooner than Man City would, you would think. But it's just a kind of wait and see on Europe. I believe they play Lyon, if I remember correctly. They do. They play Lyon in the Europa League. Sorry. So that would be depending on them. Also, with Man City and Wolves, so that's the only fixture that still needs to be rearranged. This can go in one of two places. It can go in 36 or it can go in 37. The likelihood is, if Man City were to make the FA Cup final, they could put it in the midweek on the Tuesday if they wanted to, or they could put it on the weekend if they didn't make the FA Cup final. That is something that they could do. They could also easily put it into double game week 36 as well. It's really dependent on what the Premier League actually wants to do. They could do whatever they want actually. Because it's kind of just one of those ones where it can go in either or. It probably makes it a little bit easier if it's sooner rather than later. It all depends on what the Premier League wants to do genuinely. But it's either Man City are either gonna have a double versus Newcastle at home and Wolves away, or West Ham away, or it's going to be West Ham and or Wolves in a double in 37. So there could be a double for City in 37 or in 36. It could be either or, and same for Wolves. It can be a double in 36 where they'll play Chelsea away and Man City at home, or Norwich at home and Man City at home in 37. So there's many different ways that they can slice this. But if we kind of look at the fixtures kind of down the line here, I'm just going to make this a little bit smaller so we can see the whole kind of table here. We can see that there are some pretty tasty doubles for teams that you may or may not have in your team currently, or some that might not seem as appealing. So right now we'll go to Spurs as an example. Liverpool versus Arsenal. Again, probably not the greatest, to be honest. Liverpool away is always going to be difficult, although it could favor Spurs. I mean, they beat City twice this season. And Arsenal, who, I mean, they just got absolutely just obliterated by Palace 3-0. Palace were pretty much in control the whole game. They absolutely massacred them in the first half and then just kind of sat back and let Arsenal do what they want. Never really, they had a couple chances which they could have put away, but at the end of the day, Palace definitely deserve winners there. And Spurs, it might be seen as you know, a decent enough fixture there. You're probably going to have at least a Spurs asset just because it just only makes sense to do so. But then there's other ones such as, let's say, Leicester, Everton, and Norwich, teams that are both struggling down the bottom that they could easily, you know, nick points off of and do well against. Maybe they might be able to do it quite successfully, to be honest, being at home. You would think that Everton and Norwich at home would be games that Leicester definitely want to win. Leicester still, I mean, they're playing for pride pretty much at this point, but if they put a decent enough run together, they could potentially nick like a 8th place finish or something like that. Maybe 7th if something absolutely colossal happens, but highly unlikely. But they're more or less playing for pride, so maybe like a Maddison or a Barnes, probably one of would be good in there as a more like mid-priced midfielder. If City double, then a lot of managers are probably going to go for them on the free hit. So that's something that we can see above me here. When are we free hitting? If you still have one, it was 33 or 36. Now, me personally, I would say free hit 36 is almost a cert now, because you're going to want Man City players. I mean, if you look at their fixtures, so they have Brighton at home, Watford at home, Leeds away, Newcastle at home, and potentially a double thrown in here. Then West Ham away, and then Villa, with the Wolves fixtures still to be rearranged. Those are fantastic fixtures. Their only real difficult fixture is this coming weekend versus Liverpool. You're going to want to load up on them, and they don't have a double in 33. So you're going to want to probably free hit in 33, get in some double gaming players like maybe United. Maybe you go for a couple of Leicester players as well, although you'll probably want them with basically the reverse double in 36, which is crazy. That they play Newcastle and Everton away, and then they play Everton or Everton and Norwich. Close enough. But basically they play two very easy teams away from home and then at home in 33 and 36. But those are fairly easy transfers to make. Newcastle, maybe you want a double game week player from them, but you probably don't want them longer term. They play Liverpool, Man City, Arsenal, Burnley to end the season. Not ideal, and they're pretty much safe as it is. Southampton, maybe you want to get some of those players, maybe an Adams or something like that in there, but you probably don't want them because they don't double in 36, they don't double in 37, and their fixtures to end the season aren't great. Crystal Palace is looking tough. Brentford have been playing well. Leicester and Liverpool are difficult as well. Burnley double, probably okay to have in 33. 37, probably not great. Both away fixtures, both very difficult. But they could be scrapping, so maybe it's something as a differential. And the kind of the out there teams that you want to be bringing players from potentially, like Norwich's and Watford, you're probably not really looking at, and most of the players you're probably going to still have. So those of us who still have Coutinho, he's going to have a double in 36, so you're probably going to want to keep him. Maybe you have like a Gordon or someone like that you could chuck in there. He's going to have a double, so you can play him in there. Leeds, not the greatest double, but if you still have Rafinha, you can probably still hang on to him, to be honest. Arsenal, a lot of managers will have double and triple. Arsenal, they'll have a double. Triple Spurs, they'll have a double. Leicester, very easy to just get one, maybe two, like maybe Schmeichel plus Maddison or Barnes would be fine. Chelsea could potentially have a double as well, and we'll come back to them in just a second. Liverpool, again, you're going to want Liverpool players after they play Man City, certainly. And then with City, they just have great fixtures just till the end of the season, so you might as well just get them in regardless. But with Chelsea, if they were to have a double in this game week here, where they would play Man United and Leicester. So Chelsea, if they were to make the FA Cup final, which is very possible, this fixture here versus Man United, so they'll play the FA Cup final on the Saturday or Sunday, whenever it would be. This Man United fixture would be on the Tuesday. This Leicester fixture would be on the Thursday of that week, with the Europa League final being on the Wednesday, which is if West Ham were to make it there, they would go there. And then they would play on the Sunday. So Chelsea will be playing whenever the FA Cup final, which I believe is Saturday or Sunday, then Tuesday, then Thursday, then Sunday again. So even though Chelsea would have a double-double in that scenario, you'd be hard-pressed to find somebody that plays probably 3 of those fixtures, at least 60 minutes, apart from maybe Mendy, and he might even get rotated just because, basically. You'd be very, very hard-pressed. So although it looks like hey, look, Chelsea's got a double-double, it's going to be very hard to find players that are going to play the majority of those minutes there. So I would say take that with a pinch of salt. I would also say check out Planet FPL. They're going to be doing a podcast or a video on YouTube. They usually do both. It's most likely going to come out some point this week, where James and Suj will go through all the different iterations. So I'm going to be tuning into that to see what James seems to think is going to happen based on if Chelsea were to win in their semi-final in the FA Cup, which seems most likely, and then what he thinks if Liverpool win versus City win, and so on and so forth, because that's kind of the real kicker, and we will know that after we'll know it after game week 33 has already commenced, basically, once that started, because there's fixtures on that Saturday and Sunday, and there's the FA Cup semi-finals are being played, I believe, one on a Saturday, one on Sunday, with Liverpool versus Man City, Crystal Palace versus Chelsea. We'll know in the middle of that week who's going through, and most likely there'll be an announcement before game week 34 as to what is going to happen. If you're still like myself and you have your wild card still available, I think wildcarding in 34 is still going to be quite beneficial versus like 35, because at least in 34, if you wildcard, you bank in 35 because your team's going to be set up almost certainly. You go into 36 with the event that potentially there could be some issues if things arise where you can change certain players. So like, let's say as an example, let's say you wanted Harry Kane in your team. Brentford away, Leicester at home in game week 34 and 35, but you don't necessarily want him for Liverpool and Arsenal, or you think that maybe it's not going to go great, then you could potentially swap him out in 2 free transfers and bring in somebody else, or maybe you go for somebody else that's got a bit more money up front, maybe something like that is possible. Maybe you go for a Lacazette, who's like still a decent bit of money, because most of us only have like Harry Kane priced players in the forward line, and then everyone else is like very, very cheap in that forward line. So it's a big discrepancy there. But if you, let's say, wanted to get rid of Kane and you wanted to bring in Sadio Mane for their double or something like that, that could be a switch that you would go for. So I think wildcarding in 34 is better than 35. I mean, also, you're going to be bringing in, let's say if City do double in 36, hypothetically, right? City have Watford, Leeds, and even if just the single versus Newcastle, I still think is fine. It's still going to be a very good fixture on paper. They need to win that game. Newcastle are going to be probably on the beach by then, if not already. You're going to be bringing in Liverpool players. They play Everton and Newcastle, 2 teams. I mean, Liverpool, what would make them even happier to absolutely batter Everton to relegate them? That would be something very, very interesting there. And Everton know that Liverpool need to win, and Liverpool know that Everton need to win. So it's going to be a very, very interesting game. You're going to probably want to bring in maybe, you know, like I said, a Leicester player, like a Schmeichel or a Maddison or Harvey Barnes. So they're still good. Aston Villa at home, Spurs away. Not the greatest, but still manageable. Again, we mentioned Spurs already. Arsenal's is a bit more interesting. Man United at home, West Ham away could be a bit dicey, especially with them dropping points versus Palace. Could be a bit interesting, but again, the double that they have is still quite favorable. Leeds at home, Spurs away, and then Newcastle and Everton to round off the season. Again, it seems like a lot of the teams are quite favorable before 36 as well as after. So I think free hitting in 36 doesn't really make too much sense, assuming that your team is set up in probably a similar-ish way to most managers, with some Arsenal players, City, maybe bringing in some City players in the next couple of weeks. You have some Liverpool, you have like double or triple Spurs. Your team's going to be more or less set up for 36 already. And I think getting in Man United, getting in some Leicester, getting in Newcastle, getting in Southampton, Palace even, could be a bit of like an interesting, like even Palace's single game week versus Newcastle away, the way they played, I would definitely like them, potentially longer term as well. But you don't have to necessarily bring them in on like a free hit. You could transfer them in later. You can, like, the transfers in 34 and 35, maybe you only use just the one, and you can bring them in 37 when they potentially have a double versus Villa and Everton, because the likelihood is it'll probably go there when Palace most likely are going to lose to Chelsea, although Chelsea lost to Brentford and Palace just beat Arsenal, so maybe there's some surprises there. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. What do you think of the new fixture announcements? Are there still some twists and turns which could change our potential transfer structures? For me, I'm looking to wildcard in 34 and bench boost in 36, because I think that's probably going to be the most effective use out of my transfers. Maybe I bench boost in 37. We'll have to see, because having triple Man City, Chelsea would be a bit difficult, and I just think the doubles probably not as favorable for the players that I'm going to have in my team as well. So let me know what you think down in the comments below. Are you going to be free hitting in 33? Let me know the reasons why. Are you free hitting in 36? Maybe even a free hit in 37 could be on the cards as well. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. Thank you all for watching, and this has been your fixture changes for 36 and 37. So if you haven't heard about Fantasy Football Scout, they have a fantastic members area during the regular season. It's £25 for the membership, and that lasts the entire year. And during the off season, they give a 20% discount. But if you have missed that discount, fear not, you can still get the membership for £25, and it's fantastic. You can see the membership area just behind me. You have a bunch of different stats that you can use, powered by Opta stats, and create your own custom tables. You have the Rate My Team tool. You have the season ticker, player comparison tools, a whole array of things that you can use to help elevate your FPL game. So use the link down in the description below so that you can get access to these exclusive tools to help elevate your FPL game. Sign up now. And that's going to do it for the fixture changes. That's pretty much all of them, barring, you know, just a couple slight rearrangements that could happen with like Aston Villa's fixture, as well as like City and Wolves. If you haven't done so already, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new or haven't done so already. It greatly helps out the channel, as well as turn those notification bells on so that you can get the content as soon as it's readily available. Drop us a follow over on Twitter if you want to keep up to date with any and all FPL news, from potential transfer news to maybe even more fixture changes, because there are a few left to be rearranged, and anything in between. As well as give us a follow over on Twitch so you can see when we go live for our preview and deadline streams. We leave a pinned comment down below on pretty much every video to let you know when those are going to be. As well as use the code FLAME20 so you can get 20% off, as well as free shipping for your next Manscaped order. And lastly, make sure to check out the Fantasy Football Scout members area. There's a link down in the description below. It's also on my bio over on Twitter and in the About section over on Twitch, so you can check it out for the Fantasy Football Scout members area. It's going to help elevate your FPL game. Thank you all for watching, and until the next one, take care.